Some people choose to walk through that door. Some people choose, for whatever reason, to keep going in the other direction and basically pile enormous amounts of lumber, bricks, mortar, cement, barbed wire, minefields, and fences in front of the door for themselves by just still going at it hardcore. And now they can't even see the door anymore because they've done so much stuff. So if it's your situation or if it's someone else's situation, we can talk about what happened in the past and how horrible it was. But for the purposes of resolving where we're at now, that was then, this is now. We have to deal with the now and what happened now before we can even get into then. You know what I mean? If you have somebody who blows, they could have resolved their situation then. There was efforts made to resolve it. They choose not to, and then go forward and commit about 50 other suppressive acts, all of which are, in many cases, far more harmful than the ones that they did that even got them declared to begin with. I'm not going to go back and talk about what they did to begin with. Now I've got to deal with all the things they did since then.
Right.
So, these are the types of things that I'm trying to resolve, and generally the first step is, stop doing all the stuff that you're doing that's making this so hard. If we can agree you stop doing that, then let's take the next step, the next step, the next step, and before you know it, you're through steps A to E, and depending on the damage done, it can actually be done in relative short order, like on the order of weeks, sometimes months for some people.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have people where sometimes it takes a couple of years, but, if the people who were declared and thrown in jail for breaking the law, the ones who work for the Guardians Org, can now be OT8s and OT committee chairmen and things like that, while they're still barred from ever being on staff again this lifetime, those people can handle it. I think anybody can handle it. So the point is, the door is always open, even if only a crack. So for people to talk about, I'm separated from my family, I can't be with my family, and so on and so forth.
Right.
It's a bit of a lie. And when you then go back through every other religion, from the Catholics to the Mormons to the Jews, or whatever, they all have mechanisms for excommunication. They all have policies for the protection of the group because...
And they all get attacked for it, and they all get plastered with, these guys are crazy.
Sure.
So the fact that those other churches are doing that doesn't, in my view, make it any better. For example, my brother has not talked to me in 9 years. That's not because he doesn't like me, not because he doesn't think I'm a good guy, but because he's a Scientologist.
Is he because he's a Scientologist or because he disagrees with your actions?
He disagrees with my actions because of the fact that he's a Scientologist. Barring everything else, we were great friends. We were brothers.
That's his choice.
Scientology is the only thing in between us.
Cool. Look.
Same with my mom. I'm assuming, but I haven't talked. Yeah. I haven't spoken to either of them actually specifically about why we're not in better calm. But
because you've spoken to your sister
all the time, yeah.
Anyway, I think I've sort of said my piece. I'm ready to keep policies. I'm ready to one in terms of organizational suppressive acts.
Yeah.
LRH puts it in historical precedence as it relates to groups, period, not just to Scientology. There's a reason groups do this. It's integral to their survival. Groups who don't do it get destroyed. And it's just been proven over and over and over again in Scientology's 58-year history that to whatever degree SPs scream about how horrible it is, bottom line, it is what works, it is what safeguards the church, and by virtue of the fact that people who are connected to suppressives do roller coaster, cannot make gains, and are called potential sources of trouble or sources of trouble for a reason based on historical precedents, it isn't a policy that is going to change tomorrow, next week, next month, or ever. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate, but you're right.
Maybe for you, I'd like to see the church keep going. And in order for it to be able to, it has to protect itself.
And it has to create a lot less problems and reasons to be attacked by the media for breaking up families and causing this type of turmoil.
I'm the church's spokesperson, so I'm the one who deals with the media. And from your perspective, I guess it's a lot of attacks from the media, and maybe because of the places that you're on the internet and the people you're talking to and the things that you're doing. Go to the events. Go online to Scientology.org. You haven't seen what the church's expansion is. The stats that I just rattled off for you.
Right.
Yeah, I know them off the top of my head because I live, eat, and breathe them, and it's integral to my production, so I know it well. I'm not lying to you.
No, I understand,
but I make it up. and the fact is that the church is expanding more than it ever has in its history.
But
So,
does that mean that it wouldn't be expanding more and there wouldn't be more people coming in if they didn't think that Scientology was going to cause familiar problems? Just the fact that it's expanding.
You think that that's the case, but factually, see, that's the
I
problem.
know that's the case. I've read people who said, I can't talk to my mom, I can't talk to my sister who's because of Scientology. Whether they're right or wrong for saying that is immaterial. The fact is that there's a lot of this going on. You and I both know that.
No, that's a generality.
You have
See,
to
the thing
define
is
a lot.
that, okay, you say a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then explain to me the 2.7 million people who walked in the Church of Scientology.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
Last year.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
And
The fact that that many people are.
700 churches, missions, and groups in 164 countries, and the church expanded more in the last year than the last 5 years combined. So, my version of a lot is on a very different magnitude than yours.
Right.
There is such a thing as
True.
20% and 2.5%. And if you spend your time on the internet, and judging by the people that you've been rattling off you've been hanging with, it doesn't surprise me you have that viewpoint.